Okay, this is part 3, looking at Unit 5A, statistics, and we're trying in this next example to determine whether the study is observational or an experiment. If it's an experiment, we're going to identify the control and treatment groups and discuss whether single or double blinding is necessary. If it's observational, we want to state whether it's retrospective or not, and if so, identify the cases and the controls. So as you look at this one, number 38, in a study of the effects of magnets on back pain, some subjects were treated with magnets while others were not, were given non-magnetic devices with a similar appearance. And just as a note, the magnets did not appear to be effective on the treatment of the back. Those are some of the end results, and that's, you can see the Journal of American Medical Associations where it was published. Okay, this one is definitely an experiment because we've got a control group and a treatment group, those who had the actual magnet and those who had something that looked like the magnet. So again, the treatment, they had the use of the magnet, and the control group had something that looked like a magnet, but we'll just say they were non-magnetic devices. Doesn't describe exactly what they were, just says it shares the same appearance. And so then, would it be appropriate here to do a single blind or double blinding? And in this case, it would be very appropriate to do double blinding, because if the individuals who are administering the treatment, if they knew that one was magnetic and the other was not, they may not take the magnet as serious. They may subconsciously, do things in a slightly different manner. So with them not knowing, having a double blinding study would definitely be the most effective in this experiment that we have here. Yeah, the last thing we're going to talk about, and this will be very brief, very general, but we're going to introduce to you very early on a key idea when we're looking at statistical studies, is what's called a margin of error. When we look at a sample, these things are not perfect. And so we gather data. There's definitely going to be error, because not every person we talk to and we combine all the results, that's not going to be representative of everyone in the population. It's not going to be perfect. So we get this idea called a margin of error, and it helps us to describe what's called a confidence interval, where it is likely to contain the true population parameter. Okay, we find this interval by subtracting and adding this margin of error from the sample statistic that we obtain in the study. So this is kind of shown on a number line right here. If you say here's your sample statistic, say this is, the average number of people with a percentage of people with internet in their home, and then we have a margin of error. So to get that confidence interval, we add and subtract to create this idea, these margins, I guess we'll say, this confidence interval, and then we can say with some degree of confidence or certainty that somewhere in that range, this full confidence interval, the true parameter will lie. And we can state it, some of the common are 95% confidence, 99% confidence, even 90% confidence. And we'll talk more about how those affect. But let's just look at a general idea here to end. So we have a Gallup poll found that 36% of Americans favor a law banning the manufacture, sale, and possession of semi-automatic or assault rifles. The margin of error was 4 percentage points. Is it reasonable to claim 1/3 of Americans support such a law? So in the middle we had 36%. And so we had a 4% margin of error, so that would be, you would subtract 4% from 36, so that would be 32. We'd also add to that, and this right here, between 32 and 40% is our confidence interval. We're confident, and we don't know the exact confidence here because we're not given everything, but we have some confidence that the true parameter is somewhere between 32 and 40%. And so we would just say something like 32% to 40% is where we believe that the true parameter lies. And is it reasonable at the end here? So it says, is it reasonable to claim that 1/3 of the Americans support such a law? Well, 1/3 is approximately 33.3%, which definitely lies in our confidence interval. So 33.3% maybe somewhere right in here. So we would definitely say yes, because it is in the confidence interval. There is it's reasonable to claim that 1/3 of Americans would support such a law based off of our statistical analysis and this poll. So that's a look at Unit 5A. Please let me know if you have any questions as you go through your homework, and appreciate your time as you've been going through this with me.